multiple sport associations and are huge supporters of Williamstown football. Find them online at srahomeproducts.com. The South Jersey Football Frenzy Show is also sponsored by the NJFOA South Officials Association. Are you passionate about football? Don't wait. Become a part of the NJFOA South Officials Association. Join them to help officiate high school football games. With a diverse community of more than 250 members, they proudly oversee every high school football game in South Jersey, setting the standards for officiating in the state. By joining the chapter, you will become part of a team that upholds the highest standards in the game. They are more than just officials. They're advocates for sportsmanship, integrity, and guardians of player safety, champions of fair play. They offer the proper training to ensure you're ready to make the calls and uphold the values. Ready to put on the stripes and join the team? Visit www.njfoasouth.org.
Syllabus. Check.
Join us to register now. That's www.njfoa-south.org and hit join us to register now. Elevate your love for the game and become a football official with NJFOA South. Welcome back, New Jersey football fans, to the South Jersey Football Frenzy Show here, sponsored by the West Jersey Football Coaches Association. Mac, a lot of action from last week we've got to touch on here. Let's start with, we talked about Coach Horner. Let's start with Cherokee. 27-0 over Williamstown. Cooper Birdie runs for 2 touchdowns. Murad Campfield again with another big statistical night. 17 carries, 146 yards and a touchdown. Evan Breifogel with the kickoff return for touchdown. Cherokee gets a win. Staying in Group 5 also, Atlantic City 35, Eastern 27, Peaky Roseboro 393 yards passing, 4 touchdowns. Atlantic City continues to put together wins that are impressive. St. Augustine.
5 is going to be interesting playoff time.
Yeah.
I mean, they're all going to be interesting, but that's right.
Yeah, there's a lot of action, I think, in terms of how do these teams differentiate themselves. Where does Cherokee come in? Where's Washington Township, RV, Atlantic City? Some of these teams
Kingsway, right?
Kingsway, absolutely.
Yeah.
Big one this week for Kingsway as well. We'll touch on that.
Yep.
St. Augustine 28, Lenape 0. Julian Turney, congratulations on your commitment to the Naval Academy this week. He goes 15 carries, 70 yards, and a touchdown. Roman Coney, under-the-radar type of guy, really, really good, fast, quick, accelerates, excellent. St. Augustine, he had 6 carries for 113 and a touchdown as the Prep beats Lenape 28-0. Maple Shade played its 500th game on Thursday night against Pittman. They lost 35-0. But Maple Shade started in 1972. This line here, career record of 182, 313, and 5. Hasn't been the best for the Shaders, but 500. I mean, it's a lot of games.
It's a lot of games. It's a great custard stand.
Yeah, absolutely. Mac, you saw this one. Shawnee 35, Pennsauken 29 in overtime. Cole Anderson 124 yards, 4 touchdowns rushing. Brett Lundberg 219 yards and a touchdown. You think overtime? You think 35-29, you think Saucon, you think Shawnee. Well, let me just tell you, this was more like Hamilton-Delsey. Yeah, there was 54 pass yards in the game. Shawnee completed 1 pass. It was the all-important 2-point conversion.
2-point conversion yes.
They scored to send it into overtime with no time left, right? They score and get the 2.
They had to spike the ball. I mean, look, go back to Pennsauken going for the 2-point conversion to take the 22-21 lead.
So Saucon goes up 22-21 early in the 4th.
Correct.
Then tell us what happened.
Shawnee gets the ball and turns the ball over on down. So Saucon now has the ball midfield and now has an opportunity to kind of not run out the clock because Shawnee had a timeout left and Saucon scores. Some of us were grumbling. Did Shawnee let him score? It was one of those, like, the math, they couldn't have, I don't think Pennsauken could have ran out the whole clock, but they could have taken it down. So they score, and they kick the extra point. Now they got an 8-point lead, but there's still 3 minutes and change left. Shawnee goes down the field, Lundberg, Anderson, and they get down there, and they got to spike the ball late in the game, and they finally, they get with 2 seconds left, they get a spike in, they go for it. Last play on regulation, they score, they get the 2-point. Kind of a funky play. Their tight end lined up in that tackle position, eligible by number, and they hit him on a little bit of a dump pass and made a great catch. Mason Grabowski caught it from Cole, only completed pass of the game and ties it up. And then they go to overtime, and Pennsauken does throw an interception because they had the first possession, and then Shawnee got the ball and went down, boom, 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 put it in there with, again, Anderson Lumberg. I mean, I don't have it in front of me. Lumberg's got to be close to 1,000 yards on the season already. I know he had some 2 big games early on. Had some 100-yarder. I think the only team that really kept him under 100, I think, was Camden High. I mean, so
yeah,
he's creeping up there with yardage, and it is odd to see a Dennis Scuderi run offense that doesn't throw the ball a ton.
Yeah.
But they're getting it done.
Well,
you got a freshman quarterback too. I mean, people forget that. Tough kid, fast kid, but still a freshman.
Well, you forget he's a freshman when you see he's running for triple digits every week and putting up 5 touchdowns. I mean,
exactly.
If the kid's going, 20 yards rushing, he fumbles twice. No, he's not putting up freshman numbers. There's no question. I haven't seen Shawnee. I know you have. They must be doing a heck of a job up front.
Well, they're really big up front
in the run game because
they're really big
putting
up front. I mean,
numbers.
you got Drew Prohl, Trey Thomas is back at left tackle, Drew Prohl at right tackle. You got John Mosier helping out. Christian Pinto up there. Colin Wall. They got a lot of dudes. They got some good size. I mean, they passed the eye test up front. Joe Cleaver wasn't able to play. He got a little banged up a little bit the prior week, so he'll be coming back in. Justin Robinson coming back on defense, helping the process. It was interesting as a Shawnee fan. I mean, I'm a Pennsauken fan too. But when you got a horse in the game, right? You got Tommy's playing for Shawnee. It felt like Shawnee was controlling the game. You called me and said, "What the heck happened?" I said it wasn't. It was one of those where you felt Shawnee was controlling the game. Next thing you know, they're losing. It's high school sports. But as they did pull it out, and again in overtime, some fortuitous bounces for them, and you move on. As we said in the past, you'd rather win ugly than lose pretty. So
yeah,
a win's a win.
Well, it takes what it takes, and we know that from right across the street here. Although I doubt Coach Gushu was yelling at the fans at the end of the game. Mainland 42, Egg Harbor Township 0.
No, he wasn't.
Cedar Creek 34, Lower Cape May 6. Amir Dunmar 18 carries, 130 yards and 3 touchdowns. Glassboro continues to roll 40-10 over Cinnaminson. Kenny Smith 2 touchdowns. Mackay Parker 2 catches, 113 yards, 2 touchdowns. Cherry Hill East beats Cherry Hill West for the battle at the boot, the first time since 2012 that East takes the boot. Denzel Lee, 188 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns. I covered this game a number of times when I worked at the Courier Post, and it seemed like no matter what happened in the game, East was destined to lose it. So I've seen a couple of heartbreaks for East in that game. I'm happy for them that they got off the schneid since 2012, the first time. 28-7, they win the Cherry Hill Bowl. Hopewell Valley and Burlington Township, a game with 2 undefeateds, it lived up to the hype. As Hopewell Valley wins 13-12, the Falcons lose their hopes in an undefeated season. They had a late extra point attempt that went awry that would have tied it. Seneca 41, Hamilton 7. Anthony Tirico 292 passing, 2 touchdowns. He also ran for 2 as the Golden Eagles prevail.
Anthony Diorio. You talk about some Cherokee lineage, right? Dad played at Cherokee. Anthony played at Shawnee. Doing a great job coaching at Seneca, right? I mean, I think he lost that early first game, but I think he's 5-1, 4-1, Seneca.
Yeah.
They doing just.
You get Paul the 6th this week.
Yes, that's always an interesting battle between those 2 programs. It's been every year.
Delran 38, Pennsgrove 8, Vinny Sacca 12 for 16, 192 yards, 2 touchdowns. He also ran for 2 as the Bears roll over Pennsgrove. Morristown 36, Robbinsville 16. Luke Dengler 14 carries, 126, 4 touchdowns, and a kickoff return touchdown. He accounted for all their touchdowns. Great game from Luke there as the Quakers roll Robbinsville. Those games were Thursday night. Friday night, we had maybe the finish of the year, one of them. Maybe not the best, but definitely top 5. Ocean City 38, Middle Township 34. First, let's do the stat line here. It lets you digest this as you think about what actually happened. We'll play it back for you. Walker Bailey at quarterback, 6 for 12 for 200 yards and 2 touchdowns. He also ran for one. Okay, 200 yards. J.P. Forster, 5 receptions, 201, 2 touchdowns. So there must have been a pass for negative yardage. Anyway, ties the school record for receiving yards in the game. Forster does.
Pretty good.
Late in this game, Bailey finds Forster on a 55-yard touchdown to put Ocean City up 31-27 with about a minute and change left. Middle scores 26 seconds later to take the lead back. Bailey finds Forster again for a 48-yard pass down to the 9 with 13 seconds left. They link up again in the back corner of the end zone to win with 6 seconds left. So twice, Bailey and Forster just connect. Boom, that's it. Middle Township thinks they have the game won. Excellent finish, a thriller as Ocean City wins at 38-34.
Got to play to the end, and looks like you got to cover Forster.
Yeah.
A lot.
At least in the fourth quarter. Camden 18, Timber Creek 7. Christian Braxton continues his run, 20 carries, 187 yards, 2 touchdowns as the Panthers get by the Chargers. Holy Spirit 35, Delsey 0. Ty Costabile, another big game for him, 14-20, 213 and 3 touchdowns. Kingsway rolls Clearview. They got a trophy for that one in the rivalry game, 62-0. David Oravets, 4 passing touchdowns. Ashton Ford ran for 2 touchdowns. J.D. Johnson caught 2 of those touchdowns from Oravets. West Deptford 59, Salem 18. Bryce Wright.
We got any rushing stats with Kingsway? They scored 62 points with 132 yards passing.
When you win 62-0,
with only
it's hard to select what stats to leave in there. I mean, we have a limited amount of time we're allowed to be on air.
There's got to be 300 yards rushing, no?
I'm sure. I'm also imagining a lot of different guys got toed the rock.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, right? He does. Coach Hendricks does spread the wealth. Maybe a block punt.
Could be a not. West Deptford 59, Salem 18. Bryce Wright 12 carries, 127 yards and 3 touchdowns. Zamir Davis has a rush touchdown, and I believe he has one of our knots of the week. Rod, we have Zamir kickoff return.
59
or 58 or
58, 59.
Here we go. Look at this. It's still some of the best helmets in football. Salem. Kickoff here, Zamir. He's had a great year for West Deptford. He's really been a difference maker for them. I mean, he just cracks it right up the middle. And when you can hit it like that, north and south, you can run for a long way. West Deptford rolls Salem. Riverside 36, Bordentown 14. Dean Potts, another guy who contributed in every way. 16 carries, 122 yards, 3 touchdowns. Blocked a punt for a touchdown as well. Shalleck beats Gloucester 28-21. Shalleck got 2 wins. They played on Monday. They beat Paulsboro. Then they played on Friday, and they beat Gloucester. Not too shabby a week to be a Cougar of Arthur P. Shalleck. As Kenai Simmons, 2 touchdowns passing and ran for 2 others.
And beating Paulsboro and Gloucester, 2 rivalries for them.
I mean, look at that, man. Just 2 wins in 5 days.
Like it. Love it.
Clayton 33, Sterling 7. Demetrius Williams, another huge game for the Clippers. 13 carries, 132 and 2 touchdowns. Absegami beats Bridgeton 18-6. Donald Johnson has our other nod of the week, Rod. For the Braves, Coach Lamont, Bup Robinson. Look, turf looks great out there at Absegami. Donald gets it. Oop, all the way around the end, man. When you can run like Donald, once you get that corner, that's all that she wrote, especially on that beautiful turf for the Braves. Additional scores from Friday night. Notre Dame 27, Paul 6-19. Triton 13, Highland 12. New Egypt 20, Buna 7. Deptford 14, Cumberland 10. Kip Academy 14, Wildwood 6. Audubon 7, Collingswood 0. St. Joe Hamilton 17, ACIT 12. Holy Cross beats Bishop Eustace thoroughly, 43-8.
That was surprising, right?
Thought it'd be a little bit closer. Contrast in styles, how they like to play. You could say the ball was in the air early. I know Holy Cross just really jumped out big, and Eustis, I don't think, is built to come from behind. Gateway 16, Gloucester Catholic 0. Had a lot of games on Saturday too, Mac.
And you just glossed over the St. Joe Hamilton win over ACIT. That's where didn't Coach Sackett.
Well, we talked about it a lot last week, but you weren't here, so we delved into that.
Right, Rod.
Apparently, you didn't rewatch the show or listen to it on Spotify. I mean, it's there for everybody.
How was it?
Big win for St. Joe Hamilton over ACIT.
All right, big win. We'll move on.
We move on.
He goes away. No big deal. I go away.
No, I went away. It was a big deal. I listened. It was a big deal. Like I said, we give him a hard time. Turnabout's fair play. Well, the only thing that is important here is there's only one person in this room that can't go away. Rod. Without Rod, there's no
That's
show.
the boss. Without Rod, that's yeah.
Without Rod, there is no show. Right. So
can't go anywhere.
I
did notice on the first read that there's the blocked me out and kept Trib on the screen on the first read. I noticed that. We made a change. We block out Mac on the first read.
It wasn't intentional.
I don't think it comes from you. I think it might come from the executive producer. That's okay. It's all right.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, you're right. You do a guy one favor.
You got to read the details of your contract a lot better than you've been doing it.
Who had the baby? Who had the baby?
It wasn't me.
What was
Josh.
Josh. That's right. Josh.
That's right.
Josh. I do a favor 6 years ago. Next thing you know, I'm being blocked out on the screen.
That's right. 6 years, your favor ran out. Winslow on Saturday showed why they're number one yet again. Impressive season. Their results get bigger and bigger. 58-0 over Eastside. Jalen Parker, 4 incompletions. That matches the amount of touchdowns he had. 12 of 16, 224. Nakir Helton caught a touchdown. Cam Miller caught 2. Winslow defense and special teams scored 3 times. Everybody got a chance to have a little bit of fun at the Tigers' expense on Saturday, 58-0. Willingboro 43, Woodbury 30, Micaiah Cottle with 3 rushing touchdowns, James Pemberton 1 receiving touchdown, Sean Taylor, Chris Scott each ran for 1. This is a wild game. Willingboro was way out in front. I think it was 43 to 16 or 18. Woodbury put together a couple scores. One of them was a 99-yard fumble return for touchdown by Jaswan Solomon. Woodbury scored. They got the onside kick. They were actually in the red zone, threw an interception with a couple minutes left, and that's where the score settled. But things got a little bit tight on that Willingboro sideline, I'm sure.
Whenever you fumble, when you fumble on the one going in, and then it gets back the other way, man, I haven't been on that a lot of times, but I've experienced it.
That'll take that win right out of your sails.
14 points right in your head. You're like, done.
Rivalry clash here. Pleasantville beats Oakcrest 28-26. Ahmad Jones, 2 passing touchdowns. Takis Barnes caught a touchdown. Samaj Dozier with a kickoff return for 6 also. Camden Catholic still undefeated. They roll Overbrook 41-6. Mike Moritz is having a great season. 4 touchdowns through the air. He ran for 1. Bryce Clark did not have a nod of the week this week. That may be newsworthy. He had 3 in a row.
Does Catholic play Cross this year? Are they on the schedule?
I'm not sure.
They're both undefeated, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure about that. I have to look that up.
Wouldn't that be like a natural? Aren't they like literally?
That wouldn't make sense. I don't think so, but I could be wrong. Paulsboro 36, Pennsville 24. Kyer Harvey 20 carries, 193 yards and a touchdown. Woodstown 17, Haddon Heights 6, Haddon Township 34, Mastery Charter 0, Palmyra 40, Lindenwold 0, Pemberton 28, Florence 6. Tom Madeira says not on the schedule, so he knows. He's on the staff at Cross. Tom, glad you're watching, man. I hope you tuned into the beginning. We were talking about Horner, some of the all-time great coaches, and Tom Madeira is certainly an all-time great coach.
Absolutely.
Yep. No question about it.
I want to say thanks to Coach Gilliam from Camden Catholic. Mm-hmm. He's the one that let me know we weren't up on YouTube. He watches. You know, they're coaches are starting to look at the our scheduling, broadcast scheduling, and he tapped in. And also, thank you to Colin Conway for the video.
Yes. Thank you, Colin. You've done great work. He was at Touchdown Club Banquet on Monday for the Unsung Heroes.
Awesome.
Again, beautiful photos, does a great job. And that's a fun banquet to be at, man.
Of course.
The Unsung Heroes banquet.
I have a question. We get ready
Yeah.
to go to break, but I have a question. I watched the Ohio State game. Did you guys see that or see the ending of it?
Lost our audio, I think.
Did we lose our audio?
I don't know. Somebody said that. We on?
I don't know. Can I hear us? Are they giving you a thumbs up?
Somebody said no audio. So I don't know. Are they muted? Nope, we're fine. He's probably muted. Okay, go ahead, Rob.
Go ahead, Rob.
All right.
Gotta
Listen,
be, when
all,
we're live, we got to make sure we don't go too far down the rabbit hole.
I like the white on white, by the way. I like the white on white.
Come on,
Why don't-
everybody's fine. At least we know who's watching now. Everybody chimes in. Thank you.
I like the white on white.
Listen, I'm gonna just say this.
That was a sick prank.
That's a bad prank. Listen,
Sick prank, Abdul.
I'm over. We over here fighting
Not
everything
cool.
right now.
All right.
Not
Ron,
cool.
Ron has an Ohio State football question.
So the question at the end, I don't know if you guys saw the end of the game. And
Yes.
they're actually going to change a rule
Well, they
based
should.
on the ending of that game.
You only
Yes.
get one chance. You only get one chance to exert your malfeasance of that rule.
Right.
Lanning did it. It was a brilliant move. And you know what? The simple solution is very obvious. It goes back. The game clock goes back to whatever it was before the snap.
Before the snap.
You
Okay.
you shouldn't be able to you shouldn't be able to break a rule and get an advantage on breaking a rule.
Right.
Right.
It's a simple fix.
So that was my question based off of that was, have you ever been in a situation where that kind of came, you either use it to your advantage or it hurt you in the game?
Have we ever taken advantage of a rule? Maybe a kid going next. A kid, we need some time or something like
Right, right.
that.
Hurry up offense.
It'll come to me, I'm sure. But yes, I mean, I can't. I don't know a coach that hasn't, because if it's the rule, you take advantage of that rule and you try to push it as much as you can.
I'm going to leave out names and as much as I can on this, and then it's not even football related. But I did know a wrestling coach who always was up to date on the rule book and paid special attention to it. And there used to be a rule, I don't know if this is the rule now or what it is, because I haven't covered wrestling in many years, but there used to be a rule where if a kid wrestled in JV, there was a certain amount of time that had to pass before he could wrestle in varsity. And I mean time as in like hours, or maybe it was 90 minutes or whatever it was. And I know that it was a big match, and he knew that was going to be crossed by how much time was left, based on when the varsity match was going to start and whatever.
So there was a
and the
spill?
timer was on. And let's just say he was waiting for the situation to occur to say, no. And I can tell you that the people who know about that match know what happened that night, and that I'm pretty sure the gym had to be cleared for that match. It ended up being wrestled with nobody in attendance.
Yeah.
Things went a little crazy.
Rod,
But if you know the rule book,
yeah.
and it's up to your advantage, and you know that. What the guy did, first off, I'll say he's got to be extremely smart, or whoever's pulling the strings has to know exactly when to pull that trigger, to say, this is the exact situation you'd use it in.
You're going to throw an extra guy on the field to get
Just
the
for
penalty
that, right?
to burn the clock.
You're going to stop them because you got one extra guy,
Right.
right? So that's going to help you cover Smith on the outside when you got 12 guys back there. There's going to be enough time goes off where they're still going to have to kick or throw the Hail Mary.
Right.
Because
Well, you didn't get the timeout.
Right.
He didn't get the timeout, and he slid. He thought he had enough.
But there's a very small window and situation for that rule to come into play. There's nothing you can say, well, guys, if this happens, this is what we're going to do.
No.
And it happened, and that was, I mean, it's really.
They're either extremely prepared for every situation that can possibly happen in a game, or did it come down? Is it somebody who's kind of like waiting and going through? Like, how do they do that?
There's got to be some brainiac that says, Coach, I was going through the rule book, and here's a situation where
we'll take advantage of the rule.
we could do this. And he'll say, well, that does tell me about it. Brief me on that. Yeah, that does make sense, but it would have to be in this special circumstance. And whoever that guy is got on the mic and said, Dan, it's time right now. And then somebody said, get out there.
It's a bad phone.
It's poison. Poison. Like,
Bang.
get out there and do it. And it worked. And
Rod, I've had we've had refs that we know openly have messed up a call, that maybe have flipped around, maybe against a rival that we played, maybe on a kickoff, that the penalty was called on them. It should have been called on us. Can't do anything about it. It was fortuitous. But we've all been on the other side of a situation where it hasn't been fortuitous. So, I mean, yeah, the coaches take advantage, try to go right to the.
Yeah.
Well, there was also a couple of years ago, you remember the Patriots versus the Ravens in the playoffs where they were identifying who was eligible was different from a standard
Number.
Yes, it wasn't on the line.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And Belichick knew that there would cause enough gray area where the defense would not be able to identify the player that was eligible or ineligible. And remember, that was huge. They were an underdog in that game, I think, or it was very close, and they won the game. And I know Harbaugh got a 15-yard penalty in that game just to try to stop the game. He was running out on the field to say, like,
yeah, what are we doing?
We're mismatched. At the bottom line, we can regroup. But, look, another thing is a lot of football coaches will get down into every devil of every detail if they can find one little thing that's going to help them win.
Yeah.
And
I was thinking about it, and I just wanted to hear coaches and anybody online their opinion on it. But it was a great weekend of college football.
A lot of overtime games.
It was, the Penn State USC game. It was a ton of games.
Think about that. As you're watching Ohio State, Oregon, you got Ole Miss,
Ole Miss,
LSU.
LSU's an hour. That ends an hour later.
They start. I told my son. I said to Freddie, he was home. I said, Freddie, the LSU Ole Miss game will be a 4.5-hour game. Mark it right now. It'll start at 7. It won't be over till past midnight.
Yeah.
And those games just run forever.
College football goes forever.
It used to be more, Rod. Now the rules change. Now they put the 2-minute thing in, but the rules used to be play stop like high school, first downs, right, incompletes, obviously, moving to so that the game college used to be 3.5 going in, no doubt. Now only the longer ones are 3:45, close to 4. But
this is something that doesn't matter. It's like if you're of a certain age, you'll complain about it. I really don't like the 2-minute warning in college football. It just doesn't feel right. When they stop the game, I'm like, who's hurt?
Right, yeah.
How'd they call timeout? They got no timeouts left.
Yeah.
2-minute timeout. I'm like,
yeah. And
that's a pro rule.
We watched the Colorado game. Like, we were up all night watching football, but it was a great weekend for it.
And there was another really good overtime game, too. Tennessee and Florida. But I'll tell you this, Alabama, South Carolina, another instance where, look at this. Oregon goes ahead and their coach finds this little thing that makes the difference, maybe. Alabama scores to go up by 7 points with 40-some seconds left and kicks an extra point. The other team comes down, scores, and has a chance to tie it to go for 2.
Yeah. Right.
So there's somebody who's really involved in the details, and there's somebody else, nothing against Kalen DeBoer, who I'm thinking, are you the coach of Alabama or?
Yeah.
That's what I said.
Because
You gotta go.
you can't stop South Carolina. I mean, you're
No.
lucky on 4th and 1,
Listen.
and now put the game away.
He is lucky they won that game because I think he probably would have been fired.
On the walk off the field,
Right.
Rod.
I think he would have been
On
fired.
the walk off the field. I don't know if anybody. I've heard some Alabama radio stations.
Oh, yeah.
They're no joke.
Like they're questioning this guy.
Yeah.
Is a stage too big for him?
It also wasn't that they talked about it or called timeout. They threw a touchdown. Everybody just runs off the field. In comes the unit. I'm like,
Well, I think
don't you guys have something to talk about here?
Yeah,
Like
a
this is
little
a decision.
Right.
Another one, Florida, Tennessee. I think. No, that was a different game. Sorry, LSU kicking the extra point. I would have. I mean, they didn't go for 2. They ended up winning the game, but.
Yep.
Here we go, James Duval Carr. My son leads South Jersey in rushing, number 3 in the whole state. 1,302 yards, 16 touchdowns on 100 carries. Not one have I heard him mentioned on this show. Give us his name. Give us his school, James.
I think he plays for Clayton. We
Demetrius Williams?
Yeah, we've mentioned
I've
him.
said his name every week.
Yeah, we definitely have.
I said it tonight.
Yeah, he's in the stat column every week.
we just didn't do the aggregate. You got to do the aggregate right now.
I mean, Demetrius Williams is the real deal.
Yeah,
I don't-
He the only stat line you got to mention. You have to mention when he's rushing and running it up.
I saw Coach Chamberlain at the Unsung Hero Banquet. There's nothing but great things to say. They were looking at the playoffs, hoping they'd get in there.
Yeah.
They were talking about the triple overtime game. I said, Coach, do you think the triple overtime rule of being tied, should the game have continued on? He says, that game would have gone on forever. Like, they were just destined to be tied.
Yeah.
They ran 80-some plays in that game. Overbrook ran like 22.
Yep.
Interesting. No problem, James. Thank you for watching and bringing it to our attention. Tell your son to keep running. Good luck to the Clippers. We're going to talk about next week's games right after this, right?
Yeah, sure. I know we went on a big tangent there. When Coach Madera chimed in,
Yeah.
you talk about a small world. Coach Sherlock at Bishop Eustace was the center for the state championship team or long snapper when they kicked the game-winning field goal against Don Bosco at Rutgers. I coach with them now at MYAA football with the 110s.
Really?
Yeah,
That's a
crazy.
loaded coaching staff
Right?
over there.
It's a small world.
We're not winning many games, Rod.
Take y'all and put y'all on a high school team. You might get a state championship out of it.
Hold on. Jimmy's and Joe's. Jimmy's and Joe's.
Yeah.
I'll take Jimmy's and Joe's over X's and O's.
Listen.
Have you looked through the rule book of the you found the minutia where you guys can get an edge?
9, 10,
Weighted, unweighted.
9, 10, 11.
Hold on to the bar when you're standing on the scale.
9, 10, 11. You can weigh what you want to weigh, but you got to play. You got to have your hand in the dirt.
Yeah.
They put the green stripe on you.
We got a lot of action to look forward to next weekend. Stay tight at the South Jersey Football Frenzy Show. The South Jersey Football Frenzy Show's presenting sponsor is the West Jersey Football Coaches Association. The West Jersey Football Coaches Association was established to promote, improve, and unite football in South Jersey. And in less than 4 years, the association created the Battle at the Beach and dedicated itself to helping others. They've donated close to $80,000 to date to provide scholarships through the National Football Foundation and the Touchdown Club of Southern New Jersey. The group has also donated to the charity Philly Faces, which helps those in need of facial reconstruction surgery. Thank you to the West Jersey Football Coaches Association for their sponsorship of the show. The South Jersey Football Frenzy Show is also sponsored by SRA Home Products. South Jersey, let me tell you about my friends over at SRA Home Products. SRA has been building sunrooms, pergolas, and patio covers for over 25 years. They've built more than 9,000 projects in the Delaware Valley. I've had nothing but the best to say about Mike Foti in the time I've had the chance to be around him and his crew. SRA is a gold accredited member of the Better Business Bureau, under the elite provider status with Home Advisor, and they've racked up Best of South Jersey awards throughout their past. They contribute to multiple sport associations and are huge supporters of Williamstown football. Find them online at srahomeproducts.com. The South Jersey Football Frenzy Show is also sponsored by the NJFOA South Officials Association. Are you passionate about football? Don't wait. Become a part of the NJFOA South Officials Association and join them to help officiate high school football games. With a diverse community of more than 250 members, they proudly oversee every high school football game in South Jersey, setting the standards for officiating in the state. By joining the chapter, you will become part of a team that upholds the highest standards in the game. They are more than just officials. They're advocates for sportsmanship, integrity, and guardians of player safety, champions of fair play. They offer the proper training to ensure you're ready to make the calls and uphold the values. Ready to put on the stripes and join the team? Visit www.njfoasouth.org and hit Join Us to register now. That's www.njfoa-south.org and hit Join Us to register now. Elevate your love for the game and become a football official with NJFOA South. Welcome back, New Jersey football fans, to the South Jersey Football Frenzy Show. Mark Tribble here, joined by Tim McEnany and Rod Self here at Studio B. We got a lot of games to look forward to this weekend. It's starting to really feel like football weather. I know I try to say that every week because I'm in my mind, I'm hoping it starts to feel more like football weather. But this feels like football weather, Mac.
You get the sweater, you got a nice jacket. You might even throw a pair of gloves on, right?
I might do it. Maybe not this weekend, but I might.
Because we know you'll have a hat on.
Yep.
Of course.
I do have a hat.
And somebody will have that hat on at the end of the game. We don't know which game you're attending yet. Well,
Weird week for that. It was it was a last-second decision. Even it came down right before the show. A lot of different choices.
Variables. We had a
lot of variables.
A couple calls, couple spins of the wheel, drum rolls.
Weird week. And if that feels weird, that we're not sure what game to go to, what feels even weirder is next week's the last week of the regular season. Playoffs are here.
That's crazy.
I was saying that.
That's crazy.
I'm like, where did the season go?
Right.
Like, just that fast is done and over with. I'm sorry. I'm not going to go down the
Right.
rabbit hole, but yeah.
Playoffs are here.
Daylight savings doesn't end until November 14th now, too. It's like a flip freak.
The farmers must be
crazy.
Must be tough. Thursday, 6 p.m. I only got one game Thursday that I know of. Sometimes this changes, but the only one I saw as of last night on NJ.com was the McEnany Bowl, and that is because the man to my right's father coached at both of these schools, Cherry Hill West at Pennsauken, Mac.
West, the Lions at the Indians at Vince McEnany Field, and today would have been Vince's 95th birthday.
Wow.
Right? October 16th, 1929.
Happy birthday, Vince.
Happy birthday, Dad. Good stuff. And it's always fun to see Cherry Hill West play Pennsauken High, especially I had some friends reach out because Shawnee played their JV game on Monday. There's a beautiful plaque that they put up there back in 2008 on the way in. I say plaque, it's fantastic.
It's massive. It's nice.
It's nice,
really
isn't
nice.
it?
Yeah.
It actually looks like him too a little bit.
Yeah.
Right? And those things sometimes, with the bronze, the bust, and yeah, it's pretty cool. When Tommy and I were talking about last night, he says, Dad, kids came home and right? He's like, it says Vince McEnany Field. I'm like, yeah, because Tommy was a little younger. When Tommy doesn't remember, of course, him coaching, but I said, yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah, it's pretty nice that that Pop has a field named after him, and and your buddies are playing on it. The Shawnee JV team was playing on it. So Cherry Hill West at Pennsauken, pretty cool. This used to be the old Thanksgiving game back in the day.
Yeah, Sauken's kind of changed out.
Yeah, back in the
times,
70s,
right?
Pennsauken. Yeah, and then they started playing Eustis there, and they've changed who they played. Why, West would play East because East didn't come into existence until 1970, so West played Pennsauken, and some battles there back in the day. And there's a lot of inner rivalry because Pennsauken High, my dad had taught it at West. A lot of guys at Cherry Hill West, Herbie Fisher being one of them, a lot of them all went to Westchester together. Blah blah blah. So a lot of family ties involved with the game. Alex Nyman, longtime wrestling, referee, coach, and et cetera. So so it's always fun to see. But 95th birthday, crazy.
I never met your father, unfortunately, but from those who knew him and know you, I know that many think you are the spitting image. So I feel like through the stories and through the recounting of the Pennsauken days, and also sitting here and knowing you as well as I do, I feel like by proxy.
Trim, he had better hair than I did.
No.
Roddy, he did.
I mean, can I ask a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
So, Coach, I'm in the same situation you are, right? Where my grandfather has a stadium name behind him. So every time I go home, I hear that's David Self. Do you get that from his friends and people that coach, with him, or do you still get that?
Oh yeah, it's I never coached on that field. It was named after him after I had stopped, or it was named Vince McAfee Field in 2008. I was at Holy Cross, and then we never went on. I never played, and then Lenape never played Pennsauken.
Okay.
But look, I still get. Heck, I got a Facebook picture the other day with my dad hugging Timmy Loper after the Facebook folks of the '80s sending stuff all the time. So, you're always getting a blip here.
Right.
Jason Hicks will reach out to me, yo Mac, like a little side text.
So
it's the family of guys that have been touched with not only, I know this is at every place. We talked about Cherokee earlier, kind of you're cool, you're hearing, it keeps that legacy alive, right? It's cool to hear, my brother sent a video today of us singing happy birthday to my dad. I think it was probably, Tommy looks like he's probably 7 in it, so it was probably 85 years old, right? And you're like, oh, it's shocking to see that stuff, right? Mm-hmm. But when you see that field, and okay, he was Sirianni, Nick.
Yeah.
The one thing I resonated with, and when he brought his kids up, he got a lot of grief for it. Now look, I didn't agree with it either. But when he said how he grew up, you talk about touching a nerve. He's like, him and his brothers grew up with their dad, a high school football coach, and this is how they lived their lives. I remember I was on the bus at every game going to Pennsauken High on the away games. Mm-hmm. We talked about it last week. My mother would take me out of school to go to the pep rallies at Pennsauken High. Mm-hmm. And I remember my first year coaching at Lenape, I was trying to bring Freddie on the bus with me. He was 6 years old. And Tim Walsh, our AD, and I loved him. He was like, Mac, you can't do that anymore. And I'm kind of looking, I'm like, what do you mean I can't bring? My point is, things change. So when Sirianni said it's more of, I don't think of it like how some people said, a little bit of a shield.
Well, he's been doing it. I mean, that's the thing. If it just was after that game,
it's
I'd
weird.
say, all
Yes,
right.
it was.
He brings his kids up all the time, and he doesn't bring them up after they lose.
Yeah.
Which is another thing. But here's my question. All these Pennsauken folks who remember you, I mean, there's not a Sweeney or a Norcross could have got you in office somehow. I mean, come on, man. These guys are on the block too.
Well, hey, George, listen.
I mean, look.
Yes, they were on the block, George.
Help a guy out, man. I mean, this guy's, come on.
Do I seem like a politician type?
Yes. As a matter of fact, you do.
Yeah, I'm a trip. Yeah.
Yeah. 100%.
Oh, well, listen.
You're standing on a soapbox right now, man.
Bottom line, the days at Sauken, just when you look back and you see, and the memories that you have at those fields, and they had this past week they had alumni week, and they'll honor their cancer game, and they'll honor Coach Lilly, who coached with me, who played at Pennsauken. There's so many ties of South Jersey, and just growing up in that world was an awesome time, and just having look, my dad coached Clinton Tab.
Yeah.
You know, my dad's last year, Clint was a sophomore. Man, he was good. You know, and I got the chance, you know, I'm a little older than Clinton, but, you know, I'd come back and watch the games before I was coaching. And, you know, just having those guys involved, it's pretty cool to have the alumni and friends of the program. And
it's a forever family. So I just
Yeah.
want to, you
No,
know,
definitely.
today's a kind of, you know, that's a special day.
It's a special day.
So,
yeah. Yep.
Just
So,
wanted to
you know, you see guys all the time, whether, you know, played for your dad, kid played for your dad, just like your grandfather, like, you know, they'll bring up a story, you know, and you know, and I see Mike Bregman at the Cherokee game. Cherokee's playing Shawnee, you know, Breg's played, my gosh, in 79. He looks, to me, I still think he's 18 years old. Yeah. He's 6 years older than I am. And he's still talking to me like I'm a 10-year-old, right? So selfishly, Rod, I think you might be able to when you see the old birds, it makes you feel young, doesn't it?
Yeah, it definitely does. For me, it does.
Well, and to the point, even we were talking before the show, Kevin Minnick calls you on Saturday, and you're like, why is Kevin calling me?
Right.
Well, it's because there's a question regarding something in South Jersey football history. It's not, are you coming back to coach? What are you up to these days? It's, Mac, you remember Coach Horner. What do you remember about him? So,
but it's weird. I don't feel like I'm the age I'm a kid. I don't feel like I'm 50
no, but
something.
you're connected to
I know,
a 95-year-old. I mean, 95 years of South Jersey.
It's crazy.
Staples. So
like I've been. It's been awesome. And when you meet those guys and you talk to those guys, and like this week, you know where Shawnee plays. Shawnee's at, you know, I slip because I'm Woodrow Wilson, right? I'm like, they're playing at Eastside Camden.
Yeah.
Because that's how I grew up, and and that game was always 11 o'clock. You played at Eastside, at Woodrow Wilson, at Eastside Camden. You know, I said this on the show before. I've seen more Woodrow Wilson / Eastside games than anybody in America besides coaches that played there or coached there. Mm-hmm. Because my father we'd go to the first half of that game every year, or every weekend, at 11 o'clock. Whoever they were playing, we'd go see the first half because Pennsauken High didn't play till 1:30.
That was before Huddle.
Was that?
That was way before Huddle.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yes.
Huddle made it a little bit easier.
That was before, probably even before tapes exchanged in the parking lot.
At the Cherry Hill Mall.
We had 8mm. They had tape, but my dad always said, "Hey, listen, dude, we'll talk sports. We'll talk actual football now." My dad always wanted to look and smell a team live. He wanted to see them. Huddle wasn't enough. Tape wasn't enough.
Yeah.
My dad wanted to be on the ground when they walked out through the gate. So my wife says to me, when I leave to go scout a game, she's like, "What, you got to go see the kickoff?" I'm like, no, I got to get there before the kickoff because I want to see their O-line and D-line walk by me. Yeah. I want to see what they look like. I want to see who they are. If I can get to their eyes, I want to see their eyes too.
Yep.
I remember years ago there was a coach in the area who was an older coach who loved to scout in person, and they were going in the playoffs as a top seed. He said, "I'm going to go see team XYZ," and I said, "They're terrible. You're going to roll them." And he said, "I don't know. I've seen it on film. I got to see it up close." I said, "All right."
Yeah.
And about 20 minutes before kickoff, as Max says, before kickoff, I got a call from that guy, and he says, I don't think we're going to have any problems with this team. They end up beating my pinpoint. I said, could have told you that. But you're right, Mac. You've got the history. You've got it all. That's why somebody having a baby brought you into the perfect zeitgeist for South Jersey football. This is where you were meant to be. That's why we're extending your contract out another year. And we'll even be kinder about it when you miss a show because you're huddled in your basement watching Phillies lose.
I might even double my pay too, right?
Listen, after last week, I tried to hold it down, but Mark looked at me and said, "Man, it's a little bit different without Mac."
Not quite the energy. It's a little bit less, more air for me to fill.
Yeah.
It's tough. And sore throat.
Some people don't like this.
Nah, it's fine. They don't have to watch it. I mean,
no, I mean in general of my universe.
Oh, in general.
I don't mean just this space.
Yeah.
Tracy,
No, it's okay.
Tracy would like me to kind of dial it in a little bit.
Well,
Tracy has never said, make sure Matt gets home earlier. I'll say that. She's never once said that to me.
She's
Never once said that.
just going to say that.
I've never been admonished because you get home late.
She's not texting Triv, hey, get him home early.
Yeah.
Like, all right, we'll see you. You sure you don't want to go to 3 days a week?
Yeah.
You deal with them.
Friday, 6 p.m., Haddon Heights at Delran. The Battle of the Creeks, Timber Creek at Cedar Creek. Big one for Group 5 playoffs. We talked about this, Washington Township, Kingsway. By the way, that Battle of the Creeks is a rematch of last year in the playoffs when Cedar Creek won. So that always is an interesting one. And Cedar Creek's quarterback this year, Hoffacker, was at Timber Creek last year. So that should be a good one, 6 p.m. at Cedar Creek. As I said, Washington Township at Kingsway. Millville at Cherokee, 6 p.m. Both teams obviously getting ready for their time of year with the playoffs. Lenape at Camden, 6 p.m. Holy Spirit at Ocean City at 6 p.m. also on Friday. 7 p.m. Friday, got Paulsboro at West Stefford, Haddonfield at Gloucester, Paul to 6 at Seneca, Glassboro at Shalleck. That is Friday night, 7 p.m. Saturday, Pennsgrove at Woodbury at 10:30 a.m. If you want a morning special, get yourself down to Woodbury. Stop by McDonald's right across the street first. Noon, Woodstown at Salem. The former Turkey Day rivalry continues on a little bit earlier. 1 p.m., Pleasantville at Willingboro. And 2 p.m., a really good game here, St. Augustine and RV. We saw what RV did last week. Kind of a mini bye week, I would guess, for both of these teams. They both played Thursday. They're going to play Saturday. So what's it, 9 days off? 8 days off, maybe. It's a big game at RV, 2 p.m. on Saturday if you're looking for.
And Shawnee, Camden Eastside, 1 o'clock at Camden Eastside.
That's right. Shawnee at Eastside.
Shawnee at Eastside. That's where I'll be.
It didn't quite make the cut when I was going through the teams.
Because you kind of knew
Eastside
you kind of knew I would.
hasn't been the best year for Eastside. I knew you would insert it, but that's what I count on you for.
Some people want to know where I'm going. Rod, real quick, how about this? Yeah, this is what gets crazy. I get my ADHD. So the folks who watch this show, right? They've at least heard of my dad a little bit. But I didn't play for my dad. I went to Eustis. My dad did coach me in an all-star game in one game. That's a whole other story, another day. So I played for Clyde Folsom, and our D coordinator was Pete Lancetta. And the year before that, my D coordinator as a junior was Gil Brooks.
Oh, that's my guy. He's a legend.
Listen, Clyde Folsom was my head coach. I'll say it again. Pete Lancetta coached our defense when I was a senior. Gil Brooks ran our defense when I was a junior. I was raised by Vince McEnany. I mean, you talk about some crazy. And by the way, after I left Bishop Eustis and coached there for 9 years, I was an assistant to Charlie Perillo.
Yeah.
I mean, I might just have mentioned 1,000 wins, maybe 50.
That's a blessed career path, Mac.
Right? I mean, you talk about people that my one son asked me, do you know football? I said, I don't know if I know any football. All I knew is I just kept saying what they kept saying.
Yeah.
So just
That's a lot. That's a lot of football knowledge, and
just people I've been just. I don't know if it's seeped in maybe one ear, maybe a little has seeped in, but I mean, as you were talking about the people in South Jersey, we bring up Horner, and my sons play for Gushu, who's got 1 million wins. It's crazy.
Again, how many years before we can get Freddie back here to take a program and start this whole thing over again? I mean, the bloodline must continue. Tommy's going off to college. Freddie's almost done. He's at IU. He's watching the turnaround Signetti's put together with the Hoosiers. Come on back, Freddie. I'm sure there's a football program we can get you involved with.
I don't know if Freddie will coach, but he'll be able to finance them. But Freddie's a whole different finance. He's a different guy with that stuff.
Maybe we need him here. You want to talk about getting a raise. We'll bring Freddie on as a consultant. We still have to talk about the game of the week, and we still have to talk about the best 11 rankings. There were some shakeups after last week. I mean, we had some teams in ink that suddenly turned to pencil real quick. So stay tuned. We'll be back with our final segment right after this. The South Jersey Football Frenzy Show's presenting sponsor is the West Jersey Football Coaches Association. The West Jersey Football Coaches Association was established to promote, improve, and unite football in South Jersey. And in less than 4 years, the association created the Battle at the Beach and dedicated itself to helping others. They've donated close to $80,000 to date to provide scholarships through the National Football Foundation and the Touchdown Club of Southern New Jersey. The group has also donated to the charity Philly Faces, which helps those in need of facial reconstruction surgery. Thank you to the West Jersey Football Coaches Association for their sponsorship of the show. The South Jersey Football Frenzy Show is also sponsored by SRA Home Products. South Jersey, let me tell you about my friends over at SRA Home Products. SRA has been building sunrooms, pergolas, and patio covers for over 25 years. They've built more than 9,000 projects in the Delaware Valley. I've had nothing but the best to say about Mike Foti in the time I've had the chance to be around him and his crew. SRA is a gold accredited member of the Better Business Bureau, under the elite provider status with Home Advisor, and they've racked up Best of South Jersey awards throughout their past. They contribute to multiple sport associations and are huge supporters of Williamstown football. Find them online at srahomeproducts.com. The South Jersey Football Frenzy Show is also sponsored by the NJFOA South Officials Association. Are you passionate about football? Don't wait. Become a part of the NJFOA South Officials Association and join them to help officiate high school football games. With a diverse community of more than 250 members, they proudly oversee every high school football game in South Jersey, setting the standards for officiating in the state. By joining the chapter, you will become part of a team that upholds the highest standards in the game. They are more than just officials. They're advocates for sportsmanship, integrity, and guardians of player safety, champions of fair play. They offer the proper training to ensure you're ready to make the calls and uphold the values. Ready to put on the stripes and join the team? Visit www.njfoasouth.org and hit Join Us to register now. That's www.njfoa-south.org and hit Join Us to register now. Elevate your love for the game and become a football official with NJFOA South. Welcome back, New Jersey football fans, to the South Jersey Football Frenzy Show here. Mark Tribble, Rod Self, Tim McEnany. We got best 11 rankings, but first we're going to talk about our game of the week. As we said earlier, there's a lot to choose from. There wasn't one clear-cut, bona fide matchup, but when I look back at last year and what transpired in the postseason, and there was one team that ran through everybody, and that was the Mainland Mustangs. This year's been a little bit different for Mainland, and one of the teams that they ended the hopes of was Winslow, who lost in the state semifinals. I was there. It was not close. Mainland had their way with them from the beginning, and Mainland had their way with everyone in the playoffs. But they're going to be hosting this time. They played at Winslow last year, and Winslow has packed a punch week in, week out, and they're headed down to take on the Mustangs. This is going to be a primer here for the playoffs for both. They're going into different groups this year, Mainland in Group 3, Winslow in Group 4. Mike, make sure to let us know also here briefly. We'll touch on this Corey Clement got into the Glassboro Hall of Fame last Thursday. It's a good Hall of Fame. I mean, bracket, right? You got Corey Clement.
He just got in?
Jawan Johnson's getting there, yeah. It's not easy to get in the Glassboro Hall of Fame, man. They've had some dogs, figuratively and literally.
And also, Mike Daniels went into the Highland
That's
Hall
right.
of Fame.
Yeah. His brother's coaching now, Sean.
And did we mention, the Cherokee Megan went into the Cherokee Hall of Fame too.
Very well deserved.
Yeah, he went in last week when the week Shawnee played Cherokee.
Are you in any Hall of Fames?
I am.
Good. Good.
Why is that good? I mean, it's just.
Well, I'm glad you are. All the things we just talked about, extolling the virtues of you in South Jersey football, how could you not be in a Hall of Fame?
I read on my dad's plaque. My dad's in 11 Hall of Fames. A lot of Hall of Fames.
Lot.
A lot.
That is a lot of Hall of Fames. You know what else has 11? The amount of teams in our rankings.
Yeah, it's a good segue.
The best 11 rankings, Mac. Because the 12th guy don't play.
No. You can't, well, unless you're Oregon.
Unless you're Oregon.
Unless you're Oregon.
Special Oregon edition.
The Oregon
The best 12.
Best 12. Yeah, but it's 6 seconds
That's
shorter.
good. That's good.
We're going to put some time back on the clock.
We had two teams last week that fell out. They were towards the back of our rankings. They both suffered some tough losses. You had Paul VI lost to Notre Dame, and you had Burlington Township lost by 1 to Hopewell Valley in the Battle of Unbeatens. Both of them fall out of our best 11 rankings. So let's get into it right now, Mac. Washington Township comes in at number 11. They picked a bad night to have a bad night against RV last week. They came in to that game as the number 5 team. They were absolutely shut out and manhandled by the Red Devils, 27-0.
I guess if you would have a 12th, you might talk about Woodstown possibly, but but we don't do 12. It's
Right,
11.
we don't do 12.
So Woodstown, you got to keep winning.
Undefeated, yeah. Woodstown undefeated. Could have if you don't want to look ahead too far, but next week could be an undefeated showdown with Glassboro. We'll see. But I think Woodstown has a battle in their hands this week as well. So we got Washington Township at number 11. The team they're going to go play is a new addition to our rankings, and that is Kingsway at number 10. They only lost once to Camden earlier in the season at home. They've been taking care of business. They rolled Clearview last week. Washington Township and Kingsway, usually a really good game.
Yeah.
We'll see if it plays out this way. That's going to be Friday night at Kingsway. Kingsway comes in at number 10. At number 9, Rancocas Valley. Saw them last week. Couldn't have been more impressed with them. They lost to Pascack Valley at Battle of the Beach. Pascack Valley, an excellent program. They're having a good year. And they lost to Camden High by 17 at Farnham Park a few weeks ago, which is nothing to hang your head about either. So RV, very impressed with them. They come in at number 9. At number 8, I think, Glassboro has done everything that's been asked of them and then more. There's only one, like Glassboro. This is how good things are going at Glassboro. Coach Breaker went out on the field, led his team on the field the other week with an actual bulldog on a leash. And I mean, it wasn't just any type of bulldog. It was like an exotic bulldog, man. And
That's how they roll.
yeah, this is just like your run-of-the-mill British bulldog
That's how they
that
roll.
you see walking down the street in my neighborhood. This was top of the line. Glassboro, things are going well. Kenny Smith, the Savs, Simmons, Foster's played well.
Dudes.
They're big up front.
Dudes.
They're good.
Dudes.
They just keep rolling. I think last week they might have been down 10-0 to start. They won 40-10 on the road against Cinnaminson. They're an excellent team. Glassboro is at number 8. At number 7, Mr. Newsome, you'll be happy to know Atlantic City moves in at number 7. The Eastern game maybe a little closer than they'd like, but again, Peaky Roseboro, I mean, almost 400 yards passing, I think. Excellent game. Atlantic City, you talked about this, Group 5, Mac. Well, look here down. You got Washington Township, Kingsway, Rancocas Valley, Atlantic City.
Yeah.
We'll see who the contenders and who the pretenders are here in the next couple weeks, but Atlantic City comes in at number 7. Mainland at number 6. They've taken it tough in a couple of losses to St. Augustine and Millville. They get Winslow at home in our game of the week this week. Mainland sits at number 6 after shutting out local rival EHT last week. Number 5, Camden High. bounced back with that win over Timber Creek after a tough loss to Winslow.
Camden 2 or 3 this year, group.
2. Group 2. Rumson continues to do their thing down the shore. There's a high likelihood those teams will run into each other on the bottom half of the bracket.
I was thinking maybe Camden Mainland.
Also, let's just give a shout out here to Braxton, what he's been able to do running the ball here recently for Camden High.
Yeah.
He was not. I don't remember him being as big of a factor. You probably know more about the roster, but when I saw him against Holy Spirit, I thought their run game was not where it could be at that point. A lot of it was, now they were behind in that game, but a lot of it was Brunson on breakdowns.
Right.
But having him run the ball, put up the numbers that he is, it gives them a different dynamic.
Yeah, he was a difference of that game. I think the second play of the game, he took one about 70 plus yards to the house. So, and then coming back late in the game, he's the one that kind of, put it away for Camden.
Having a quarterback, 72, we all love that one, right? But just that 3rd and 8, move the chains, whether teams bring 0.
Well, Brunson will do that.
That's what I mean.
But to be able to give it to a guy in Braxton,
yeah,
that's
I think
that's a
what
big deal.
Well, be able to give it, be able to go. Right.
To have 2 guys
Right.
that are dynamic back there, but also the stability of the run game
But
is important.
Because you don't want to be 3rd and 8.
Right. So I think, going into we're talking about getting ready to go into the playoffs, it's going to be a key. The run game, it gets a little colder out. Camden has speed, so a lot of times people want to back off of you, to have that guy that can
Right, you want to play a 3-man front on him with 2
Exactly.
high and quarters coverage. You know what? Boom. Bobby will go boom, boom.
And we're talking about a guy that's a track athlete as well. So you give him the wrong amount of room, he'll take it all the way to the
As
house.
they say, if your fits aren't right, you're looking at,
sure.
we used to say, you're looking at A's and A's.
yeah.
St. Augustine 28-0 over Lenape last week. They're number 4. They bounced back after their loss to Holy Spirit 2 weeks ago. Holy Spirit's right ahead of them at number 2. Beat Delsey last week, and also, as we mentioned earlier in the show, our thoughts are with the Spartan family as they lost an assistant coach, a former assistant coach, John Bewley. This week will be an emotional week for the Spartans. They're number 3. At number 2, Millville had a bye week, didn't play this week. They come back and play Cherokee this weekend. And number 1, of course, and on aggregate score, I don't even know, they might be higher than number 1 with the amount of points they put up and the amount of points they give up.
I don't think you can get higher than number 1.
I don't think so either. Need some Dan Lanning math, maybe Freddie arithmetic. Winslow Township, certainly, and looking forward to seeing them in the game of the week at Mainland. Thanks. Before we do parting shots, thanks again to Rod and his company here at D2 Sports Network Studio B. If you need a photography session, podcast, anything you want, feel free to reach out to Rod. He will make it happen. Highlights.
Highlights, all of that.
Streaming, you got a game you want streamed, get in touch with Rod. He'll be there quickly. They'll get it set up. Chris Baker, who helps us with the stats. Thank you, Chris, for everything you do. You've done a good job play-by-play also, showing up, making it happen. Feel free to reach out to Rod. Parting shots?
On who? At who?
On anything.
Another week. You're not going to need a jacket today. It's going to be beautiful this weekend, right? The weather's getting nicer.
Parting shots, we'll do this for Coach Horner.
There you go. He would love the brown uniforms they roll in now. That's how the Chiefs started out, brown and orange. Bringing it back.
Brown and orange. Thank you, everybody who watched. Share this out to your friends, all the other football buffs in the area. We won't yell at the fans. We'll just keep embracing them, man. Just keep bringing in more and more. Playoff season's almost here. Happy to be here.
Also, like, share, and comment on the videos. Share them out. Let your teammates, everybody know that we, give out.
Hear about somebody's kid is mentioned. Tag them in the post.
Yeah, tag them in the post.
Come in and watch.
Just bring them in because there's a lot of people out there that still don't know we're doing this.
Yeah.
So, share it
Sounds
out.
like a plan. Go to a football game. Go to 2. Go to 3. You got Thursday, Friday, Saturday morning, maybe a Saturday night. No Saturday night.
Saturday night. It's a big one. This Saturday. You may want to cross the bridge. It's a big one this week. Roman Catholic.
St. Joe, Roman
St.
Catholic.
Joe's Prep at Franklin Field.
Oh.
8 p.m. start too. So,
St. Joe's
you know.
lost in 4 overtimes to the LaSalle Explorers.
Yes, that was a good game.
Bringing it right back to Vinnie Mac. That's where Vince went to high school.
Uh-oh.
Where boys will be boys, but LaSalle boys will be gentlemen.
Look, it all ties back to South Jersey.
It's hard to believe they have a great football program with that motto.
That is their motto. The Christian Brothers keep them going.
All right, we're past
We're
this.
done.
Once we get over the bridge, we're far past this.
we go to
don't-
Philly.
We don't go further west than Pennsauken, let me tell you that.
My Uncle John's still alive. I bring up John, and we could go another 3-4 hours right now.
Yeah, I know. We can go way too far.
Yeah.
And have to put this in a digest.
Johnny Mac.
Thanks, everybody, for watching. We'll see you next week, 7 p.m. for South Jersey Football Frenzy Show.